What's up, Grace Girls? Welcome to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast, where we focus on helping Black women change their lives by discarding negative thoughts, pivoting in the right direction, and shifting their mindset through cultivating a trauma-free lifestyle. I'm your host, Courtney Kristen, educator, content creator, life coach, counselor, and mental health enthusiast living in Houston, Texas. I created the Allow Yourself Grace podcast because I wanted to create a space for Black women to share their thoughts, feelings, and stories that make them who they are without fear of judgment. Allow Yourself Grace provides emotional support and encouragement within the Grace Girls community for women in need of non-biased opinions from women other than family and friends. Personal development, self-care, career, faith are among many of the topics we will discuss on this platform. Allow Yourself Grace podcast is here to encourage Black women to live unapologetically and thrive in being authentically who they are and were designed to be, an entire vibe. No topics are off limits. We will cover it all. Now, grab a notebook, pen, sit back, and enjoy the show. What's up? What's up, Grace Girls? Welcome back to another episode of the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. Guys, we're in season 4. Can y'all believe it? We're in season 4. And I just keep bringing the heat. I'm having some amazing guests. And so today, we're all about self-care and taking care of yourselves, your mind, your body, all that good stuff. And so I have a self-care strategist. Yes. She's a coach here with me, Miss Katie P. And as always, I like to let my guests introduce themselves so I don't forget any of the credentials. I don't want to forget everything. So I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Well, hello, everybody. So I am Coach Katie P. I am your self-care strategist, and I'm your personal growth coach. So I'm all about helping you release what no longer serves your well-being through effective self-care strategies so that you can start to discover what is extreme happiness for you, right? Or also for you to be able to accomplish and elevate to that next level of growth. I'm also a serial entrepreneur, so I own a company in the telecommunication industry with my husband called Video Plus Entertainment. So anything dealing with entertainment, surround sound, speaker satellite systems, that's what we do. Also a blended mother, a blended family of 5. So, and this is important. I always like to say this. Family is everything, but listen, I got a little one, 6 years old. And then our oldest is 31. So, but I'm excited to be here. You see, I'm excited to be here. And as women, we wear so many different hats. So thank you for having me, Courtney.
Oh, no problem. I love it. I love it. Y'all see, we can do all the things, because Miss Katie P is very busy. Look, blended family, entrepreneur, okay, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into it. So today I brought Miss Katie on because I wanted to talk about building self-care into your life, because that's something that a lot of people complain about a lot. It's like, well, I don't have time, or the kids are, pulling me this way and this and that. But I want to kind of ask you, how important is self-care? How important is that?
It is so important. It is vital to your well-being. In order for you to become the best and highest version of yourself, you do have to figure out what is effective self-care for you. Mm-hmm. Doesn't look the same for everybody else, but it is imperative because your destiny, your dreams are dependent on it.
Right. And so the biggest thing especially like for me and you like you're an entrepreneur, being an entrepreneur is a lot. Because you're wearing many, many hats under that umbrella. And so just fitting it in. And I like that she said that it looks different for everyone. So can you give them like a little bit of an example of what self-care could look like?
Absolutely. So let me first say this. Effective self-care is soul care. So it is always about you becoming the best and highest version of yourself. It is supposed to help you accomplish and do something from the inside out. Mm-hmm. So when I say that it doesn't look the same for everybody else, I want you to kind of think about, because there's many things, right? When we think about self-care, I love water. Anything to do with water. I'm a bubble bath girl, or however you want to call it, but I love the beach, just left from the beach. But some people love to write. I love to write also. In your journaling, we pray, we meditate, which is that's number one for me, is prayer and meditation. But it's simply could be drinking a cup of tea. It's taking a walk outside. Mm-hmm. But let me really get to what's so important about this. When you discover what is effective self-care for you, if you were unhappy and if you were mad or frustrated, it should allow you to feel peace. It should be self-care in the moment, because we think of, oh, well, I want to go to the spa. Love going to the spa, but can you do that every day? Can you do that when you get a phone call that upsets you, or you get a text message and it just interrupted your day? Now you're distracted. So effective self-care should be self-care in the moment. So it's anything that's going to bring you back to your center, allow you to feel ease, allow you to feel peace. If you are mad or upset, soon as you start doing it, you should start feeling where you're moving to more of a positive feeling. Your emotions should start to change. Maybe you were mad, but now you're a little bit frustrated. It's going to get you back to where you're supposed to be. And if it's not doing that, then I challenge you, it's not effective self-care. It might be self-care for someone else, but if it doesn't allow you to become the best and highest version of yourself, that's not self-care for you.
Right. Because I think a lot of times people think that, it's just something you go and buy, or you got to go get your nails done or your hair done. And so they're like, I can't afford all that, but it's just the simple things, like whatever brings you back. And so I like that effective self-care. Hopefully y'all are writing that down.
And let me mention one other thing too, because this is important, because you said routine. You should be doing this daily. I'm a self-care strategist, meaning this is a plan that you implement into your life every single day, and it fits into your life. It's not something that you're burdened with. It's going to be something that's going to help you, support you, empower you, encourage you, uplift you.
Come on.
It's every single day, right? So if that means reading your 15 pages of, the Bible, 15 pages of whatever book you're reading so that you can elevate, if that's about you meditating, starting your day with an attitude of gratitude, that's self-care. And that's every day. But you should always practice self-care in the moment so that you can stay where you're meant to be.
Yes, and just stay level-headed. Like, just like you said, you can get a phone call to upset you, and then it's like, how do you get back to that place of being at peace? Like, what brings you down? Like having a cup of tea. Like, she gave some great examples. And so, I know initially when I first started on my self-care journey, I was like, oh my God, this is expensive, because I was trying to do all these things.
Yep.
And when I really sat back and took a look at it, I'm like, well, I enjoy sitting outside. Like, I just enjoy being outside sometimes, just listening to a podcast or listening to my music. Like, that's my self-care.
It is.
And so even during the day when I'm working in the office and I've been staring at the computer too long, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go walk around and kind of just take a moment, because those things keep me centered. It keeps me grounded. And that meditation piece, I just started meditating. So I kind of want to talk to you about that. Do you think that's something that should be incorporated in your morning routine?
I really feel like that's interesting, because sometimes I ask myself that question too. And I truly believe that because we're all different beings, right? So it has to be done in a way that's going to be best for you, to be honest, because everybody is not a morning person.
Yeah.
Depending on what kind of job you have.
True.
You could be, a mother who just had a newborn. Now you're sleeping all kinds of different times, right? You sleep when the baby sleeps.
Whenever you can.
So to say it's only, good to do it in the morning, no.
Okay.
But I will say this, how you start your morning actually does have a lot to do with the rest of your day, what the rest of your day actually looks like. So, it is important. So if you are a morning person and you're waking up, then yes, starting your day with meditation would bring you so much peace, and it will give you the right start to your day.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it. I just look for 10-minute meditations before I work out in the mornings in my prayer time, and just trying to incorporate those things, because my biggest thing was, I don't have time. But then I'm like, no, I need to build this time into my routine. Like you said,
you have to prioritize.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Because everybody have heard of, we make time for what we want to make time for. That's the truth.
Yeah, it's true.
It's the truth.
It's true.
But we all say that.
No, we do.
Right.
We do. We like, I don't have enough time. And then before you know it, the day has went by. But if you have a schedule, you don't always have to stick to it either. That's another thing. We put so much pressure on ourselves to stick to this schedule. Some days you may not feel like it, and that's okay.
Right.
Let's try again tomorrow. So those are the little things that I kind of want my audience to really start, because I'm around a lot of women a lot, and they're just like, I don't have time. My kids, I'm over here, I'm over there. But it's just small things that help us to get there.
Well, let me say this, because a lot of times, we think about time, and time is one of those things that we can never get back, and can never have enough of, right? But it's not about quantity. It's about quality. So if you only have 5 minutes, that's your 5 minutes. But you need to be with your 5 minutes. And say you were meditating for 5 minutes. Be fully present. Be there. If you were taking a walk because you're outside, because that's a great way, to express and participate in self-care. Just sometimes you need to take a walk, get that fresh air, be with nature. But you need to be present in that moment, not scrolling on your phone, doing, other things. Yeah. You need to be fully present. So it's not quantity, it's quality, right? That's important.
Wow. That was a whole word. Quality, not quantity. Wow. Because we feel like if we're doing a lot of things that we're productive.
Right.
And that because I got all this stuff checked off my list today, I was productive. But did you really take the time to really hone in and tune in and just be in the moment?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And, it's one of those things where we were taught, especially as women, to be multitasking, right? We multitask. And to be honest, if you read a lot of these books that's out there, it is not the effective way. It is not the most efficient way. We should be single task oriented. And I know there are times that we can't, right? Life is life, and we have a lot of things that we have going on our plate. But I want you to really think about, when you're juggling all of these different things, are you really giving your full attention to it? Are you giving 20% of effort? 30% over here? But had you worked on that one thing and gave your 100% in maybe the 20 minutes that you had, because we have time management, right? We have time blocks. Think about that. That's another way of really seeing, your efficiency and your production, basically, your productivity, actually.
Yeah, and that's being intentional. Like, if I'm being intentional, I have the time to nurture it. I have the time to cultivate it. I have the time to find the mistakes and, just really just look at what I'm doing and be immersed in it, instead of, oh, I'm doing this. Oh, let me do this. Let me do that. And so that's such a great point. I also wanted to ask you about being a strategist and a coach. So when you're working with clients and you're giving them a strategy for their self-care plan, what's your approach like?
Well, my approach is always getting to know my client. I need to know, what is it that you need in your life in this moment that's going to help you get to that next level of success, that next level of growth. And success and growth does not look the same for everybody. But I need to be able to hear you in your own words express to me, what is it that you believe you need, right? Because we have to start there with what's already inside of you. And then I'm also going to ask you, what is that 1 to 3 things that you would release and remove from your life? Or maybe it's something that is holding you back and keeping you stuck, right? So I need to get to the things that you want and what you don't want, so that we can effectively come up with a plan, right? A plan of action, a strategy for your self-care. And a lot of times when I'm talking, because I'm a personal growth coach, when I'm talking to a lot of my clients, they really have not really thought about self-care because they don't have time. But some of the things they do and enjoy is self-care. They just never looked at it in that way, right? Because self-care is many different parts of our lives, right? Many different areas. It's not just one thing, right? So when I talk to them, I get to know them. And then we start to put together a plan about their self-care, their routine, based on, your hours of work, based on your interests, your hobbies. What are you already doing? Where do you feel most at peace and centered? I need to know about the things that you love, not like. Like is great. However, well, actually, I'm going to say good, but I need to know about those things that you love, because that's a good start.
Yeah.
Because that's what effective self-care is. It's not just things that are okay. These are things that you love, and they make you who you are, and they help you become, like I said, the best and highest version of yourself.
I love that. Because how often do we think about the things that we love, like, oh, well, I like it, but when you think about what you really love, it makes it different. It makes it more important to you, like it makes you want to prioritize it because you love it so much. And so having someone to help you build that in and have a plan. And I like that you're looking at everybody's schedule and just, because that's the first thing.
It is.
That's the first thing.
You mentioned time.
Yeah, time. I don't got time. I don't know how I'm going to work this in because I work nights or whatever the case may be. I work 12-hour shifts. And you're like, no, let's look at this. Yeah. Let's look at this. Let's develop a plan that's going to work for you. And let's try it. We can always tweak it.
Yeah.
And so I think that's another thing, too. Like, we feel like we can't change things. Do you ever encounter clients like that?
Absolutely. And that's the thing. Change is really the one true constant, because that's what life is about, being open and being flexible, right? We're constantly changing. However, it's because we're so accustomed to our routine, or we don't want to be put out of our comfort zone. But greatness actually lies in being uncomfortable. So when you're talking about elevating and going to that next level, you have to embrace change. And it's one of those things, sometimes people think that you just have to go and uproot everything in your life. No, it could be one addition or one subtraction, because it is a process, right? And in that process, you have to be able to manage and track your progress, which actually produce results. That's where your consistency comes from.
Right.
So with your self-care, it's goals that are put in place. And just like any goal, you have to track it. And you have to see where you are so that you can have self-awareness, hold yourself accountable, and be able to make those little tweaks, because sometimes it's not huge changes, so that you can continue to do the work that you've been called to do.
Come on, called, yes. Passion into profit. I like that she said that. So you can do the work that you've been called to do.
Yes.
So being a serial entrepreneur, being a personal development coach, being a mom, doing all these things, but still staying true to your calling. How important is that for you?
Oh, my goodness. It is, well, first and foremost, my calling from God, my God-given assignment, my purpose, right? That's number one. So it is so important every day to know that I have made a difference, that I have been impactful, that I have encouraged, and that I have empowered someone. It is about me making sure that I'm always in alignment with my calling. And I truly believe that because I am, that allows me to be a better wife, a better mother. It allows me to be that role model for others and for my children, right? It allows me to be able to pour into them, because it's all connected. There is no separation. It's who I am.
Yeah. There's no separation. That's why when we talk about balance, it's like, there's really like balance doesn't exist, because it's like I have to be where my feet are planted. I have to be focused when I'm at home. I have to be focused when I'm over here. I can't be all these different places at one time, because like you said earlier in the conversation, it's like we've been taught to multitask. We've been taught to I'm with my kids, but I'm on the phone because I'm trying to close this deal or whatever the case may be. But it's like, I can't do that. I need to be more intentional and just say, hey, how was your day? Like, let me sit down and have dinner with my family, like the little things. And so I think when you are walking in your purpose, it provides you with those opportunities.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't take away from who you are and what you're doing.
Oh, no.
And I feel like people let it pull at us from all angles, and it's like it really doesn't have to be like that if you just align with the purpose. Absolutely. And you align with what God is asking you to do. Because I'm just now, I'm new to entrepreneurship. I've been an entrepreneur for like almost a year now. My husband's been doing this thing, right? So I just jumped in, and so it became really overwhelming when I started to try to structure things. And so I was like, I'm doing this wrong. Like, the problem is I'm trying to do it instead of leaning on him.
Yes.
When I know what my purpose is, I know what he told me to do, but I keep trying to do it on my own.
Right.
So if I lean in on him and say, God, you're first, I'm going to let you align that, and then everything else comes after. So I love that you said that. It just makes everything so much clearer, especially for someone like me or someone that may be transitioning to a different stage of their lives. Like, I feel like people need to hear that.
Absolutely, because God will give you strength, right? Our strength comes from the Lord. And, you know, we have to always stay connected, because we have to, especially when you're on your journey, you know, operating in your purpose, but being an entrepreneur, you have to have, you know, use wisdom, apply wisdom, but you also have to have discernment, and you have to hear God, you know, and know when he's redirecting you. A lot of times, you know, we're busy, and this is all connected, because this is part of what I also coach my clients on in personal growth coaching, is that sometimes we don't really see that, you know, the bad thing that appears to be bad, right? Something that fell through is really failure. It's not really failure. It's disguised in failure. It's really a part of something you had to go through so that you can become the best and highest version of yourself. And so through those hard and tough times is where we grow. It's where we learn. It's where we know what we're able, you know, what we're really capable of, right? We grow in our strength. And we also start to see what we don't want in our life, what we do, what we actually don't want to continue to allow in our life, because it's holding us back from doing everything that God has created us to be. And that's why, you know, that purpose is connected to pain. It just really is.
It is. And I think that growth, that's crucial. Your story is a part of that growth. What you're going through, how you got to where you are, like all of it's a part of the growth, and a part of you knowing how to care for yourself, because sometimes you have to teach other people how to treat you.
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So if I'm not taking care of me, then they're going to be like, well, you're not even doing that for yourself. So holding other people accountable too, by letting them know that, hey, this is a part of what I do to take care of me. This is what I have to do for me.
Right.
And it's okay to remind people and just say it in a nice way. You know, you don't have to be rude about it, but it's like, okay, I need a moment.
Yeah.
I'll be back. This is my time. Even I tell people, like, on their lunch breaks, like some people will work through their lunch. I'm like, no, you need to take your break.
Right.
Take your break. That's your time. Like, to just regroup, eat your lunch without being on your phone, without checking emails, without being on your computer.
Just to be.
Just to be.
Because that's my motto. Being is our birthright.
Yes.
That's what it is. Just to be. And what's interesting, that what we're talking about right now is that this is so important, because it's self-care that most people don't think is self-care, which is boundaries. Boundaries is is effective self-care. That is where, you know, that's internal work, because you get what you give and you get what you allow. So you have to teach people how to treat you, which is what you were talking about. That's so important. And by putting up boundaries, even if it's just simple as, I am going to take my lunch break uninterrupted, eat my food. And when I say uninterrupted, that means from everything. That means from my phone. You know, maybe I even, you know, I would love to have a conversation, but right now I need my 30 minutes just for me, just to be, just to breathe.
Yes. And breathe often.
Yes.
Because sometimes we're on go, and I'm like, whoa, I need to take a deep breath, like, relax, let's regroup and come back and try this again. Because if we just go off of what we think, we can mess up a lot of things. And so I think having a coach in those areas is so important, but choosing the right coach.
Right.
What advice do you have for someone who's like, I need more. I can't do this on my own. So what would you tell that person?
Well, it's so important to invest in yourself, right? So when we think about coaches actually help you see what's already inside of you. We're not trying to help you be anyone else. We're not trying to have you be, you know, like us, right? We're not counselors either, right? That's the reason why you have counselors. What we actually help you do is give birth to what's already what's already inside of you, and push it on out. It's about you elevating to your next level of success, your next level of growth, your next level in any area of your life. That's why there are different types of coaches, right? So my suggestion, and this is what I also tell my potential clients, let's have a conversation. I offer like a 30-minute discovery session where before we even get into that session, I'm sending you out a little quick, survey basically where you're answering a few questions because I want to get to know you. And then we're going to have a conversation. And it's basically it's a two-way conversation, right? It's not one-sided, but here's where we're exchanging value and we both decide if we're going to be the right fit for each other. But it's about you feeling a connection. Just like having a coach, I mean, it's still a relationship, right? It's still, and even though this is about your personal growth and self-development, right? But it's still a relationship. So you do have to feel a connection, and you have to be able to feel that this is a person that's going to help me be able to go to that next level in my journey. Maybe this is not a person that's going to be with me 5 years from now. It could be, but right now, in this moment, where I am today, this is a person that's going to help elevate me in my thinking first and foremost, right? Because you change the way you think, you change your life. And it's going to help me be able to push on out what's inside of me, get it on out there so that I can be my best.
Yes, that mindset piece. We need sometimes someone to say, hey, stop. Let's get a plan together. Let's talk about this. We need those accountability partners. And I think that's what coaching provides for a lot of people, is just that accountability piece. You have someone to check in with. You have someone that's holding you accountable, that's asking you about your goals, that's helping you decide what the action's going to be behind those goals.
Right.
Because if you don't have that action piece, we can sit here and we can strategize as coaches and write down everything that you're supposed to do. We can talk about it. But if you don't do the work, then it's not going to be effective.
Right.
And so I think that's part of what Katie was saying. She said a lot, and I love it. She's providing you guys with so much information. But just make sure you're really taking it in and thinking about whether or not you can benefit from a coach, because sometimes it can be that one person that can take you from here to here. Just because they're holding you accountable, they're providing you with some action work that you can do to help you achieve those goals. I want to ask you, what role does mental health play in self-care and personal development? How does that factor in?
Oh, that's so key, because if we think about, our self-care, and we think, our mental and our emotional well-being, they work together. And it's important for us to be able to see where we are in our mental health journey. So you have to be able to see, basically, and I say see it before you see it, but you have to see that I'm not okay, and that's okay in this moment. But then when we don't stay in the moment of it's not okay, it's about what is it going to take to help me come out of this, whether that means I need to be talking to a therapist, right? Or whether that means that, it's because I've been falling short of my goals. And I just need that extra push to help me be able to achieve, to be able to get this done in the next 90 days, because I'm really big on the 90 days, and put some things into action and follow through. And a lot of times when we think about our mental health, when we have to become our biggest motivator, and in the action and when you're accomplishing things and getting things done, even if they're small, that's building your confidence. Confidence grows. So it's so vital. Your self-care actually allows you to be still enough. And this is a part of self-care, to be still enough, to get quiet enough, to be able to really say, you know what, is this working? Am I happy with my life? And we got to understand what happiness, because happy, you can be happy one day and you can be sad another. We understand that we should not allow our feelings to control us either. Right? And that's a whole nother conversation right there.
Get out your feelings.
Yes, but it's important because through effective self-care, it's going to give you the time, going to give you, even if it's only 5 minutes, 10 minutes, for you to really think about your mental health and what you should be doing so that you can be in a better place, right? Because that's really what it's all about, being healthy, being whole. Feeling joy, peace, freedom. That's what it's about.
Freedom. That freedom is amazing.
Yes.
I'm telling you. Oh, wow. Katie said so much. I want to, wow, it's so much I want to hit. But I want to go back to that sitting still and being quiet.
Yes.
Like, you don't realize how much you can see and hear when you're quiet, when you turn off that TV and you just get by yourself. and you just sit for a moment.
Yeah.
And I think a ton of people, I'm not going to say everyone, they're afraid of what they might hear. Like, they're afraid of that quiet time. They're a little afraid of themselves. Like, so I keep busy.
Right.
So I'm over here, I'm over there, and I'm over here, and I'm over there. I'm doing everything. I'm doing all the things. But it's like, have you really just gotten still to figure out what aligns with your purpose? Because everything doesn't align with you.
Absolutely.
That's like, even with my platform, like, my husband will send me people like, oh, well, you should look at this person. And then sometimes I'm like, I don't think they really align with my vision. And that's okay.
Right.
And that's okay. And so that's what I'm saying all that to say. It's like, if something doesn't align, it's okay to say no. It's okay to say that's not really where I'm going, or if that's not for me. But I think we can only realize that when we sit still and really figure out what aligns with us.
Absolutely. And see, and like I said, there's so many different things we could talk about with self-care.
Yeah.
But that sitting still, and that doesn't mean, if you're sitting still, you're not out there spending all kinds of money. No, I'm taking a moment for me, sitting still, getting quiet. And it can be scary because a lot of people cannot do it. They can't do it. They can't do it because you have to train your mind too, because your mind is busy. It never stops, right? And sometimes we're just busy being busy. And what are we doing actually? And really, it's not just about what you're doing. It's about, who are you becoming in the doing?
Are you developing?
Yes.
Are you growing?
What it is. Are you growing? Because we all have seen people who are very busy and make a lot of money, but still be very unhappy.
Yeah.
So it's getting to that place of joy. So when you're able to sit still, and I encourage you just to even start with like 10 minutes. Start with 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just to do nothing. And actually, I challenged one of my clients to do this. She was super busy in real estate and flipping homes and all of this good stuff. And she's like, I don't have time for self-care. And for her, it was simply on a Saturday. And it wasn't just 10 minutes, actually, because I said a Saturday. I said 1 hour for you to just sit.
Don't touch that laptop.
Do nothing. Do nothing. And allow God to guide you. Allow your soul to speak to you, because your soul is who you are. It's not what you do, it's who you are.
Yeah.
So allow that to happen, where now it's something different that's actually happening and you're embracing it, and just see where it goes. And when I tell you, that changed her life forever.
Wow.
Because she did not think about it in that way. She thought about self-care as all of these other things I have to add on to my to-do list. To a person that's already busy,
right?
Nails and hair,
like an extra job.
Some of that I love nails and hair, but guess what? That's not effective self-care for me.
Right.
I do it, but it's also part of the image,
the
brand.
Yeah.
But for me, it's water. But what I like to do in water: sit still, be quiet, listen, breathe. All of those great things that bring you peace. So yes, sitting still and getting quiet. But if you only if you're not really used to it, it can be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Greatness lies in the uncomfortable. So just try it for 10 minutes.
Just try it, y'all.
And
just
see what
try
happens.
it. I'm telling you to try it. It works.
It does.
It works. And you'll come out with so much clarity, though.
Yeah. Have a journal now.
Yeah.
A tablet.
Yeah, because the ideas are coming. You're like, what? Like, I swear I did that last night, and now this morning I'm like rambling off at my husband, all this stuff, and he's like, I'm like, because I was sitting quiet. I was in my little closet, and I have like sticky notes where I'm writing all this stuff down, and I'm like rereading some of them, and just taking my time to meditate on what I asked God for.
That's wonderful.
And I'm just replaying in my mind, like, okay, sometimes you have to remind God of his promises, and that's okay. And I'm like, God, but you promised, but I need clarity. I need this. But when I left out of there this morning, I had so much clarity. I slept so great last night, but I didn't go home and turn on the TV. I went straight to my little closet, and I was just in there. And so just taking that time to really just be, like, you can gain so much from that. So definitely do that. The 90 days, I want to talk about that, because she slid by it real quick. She was like, my thing is 90 days. Why 90 days?
Because 90 days, and I think it's also our brain has been kind of, it's a routine of thinking about the quarter, right? There's 4 quarters in the year and that sort of thing. But 90 days really goes back to me listening to someone that was speaking on our thoughts. And it takes 63 days to actually form a new thought pattern.
Wow.
So if that's the case, 30 days isn't enough. We've heard 21 days to, form a new habit. But 63 days to start thinking differently, right?
Wow.
And if you change the way you think, you change your life, then of course, getting to that 90-day point is where now I'm able to self-reflect. I'm able to track and see my progress. I'm able to see my growth. I'm able to see where I started and where I am today. And then because I'm starting to think differently, I'm starting to be more positive, right? I'm starting to really embrace who I am and letting go some of that stinking thinking and things that are no longer serving me. Now I'm able to start to elevate.
Yes. Oh, I love elevation, but being around people who are elevating too plays a big role. Like while you're in that period of the 90-day period, because I definitely agree, because 21 days is not long enough.
Nope.
It's not long enough, not for me, because I'm like, okay, I'm at 21, but then the next couple of days I'm back to doing whatever I was doing. So I think holding yourself accountable for that long period of time is needed. But your environment, how important is your environment in all of this? Like how important is that role of building that environment that's going to help push you?
It is vital. It is vital to your growth. It's vital to you becoming the best version of yourself. Your environment matters, because as you are elevating, you cannot continue to be in the same places that were holding you stuck, hostage, in bondage. You have to surround yourself around people and environments that actually add value to your life, but that help you see the better version of yourself. That feels good from the inside out. It's internal. You feel a sense of peace. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable, because I truly believe if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
You need to get out ASAP.
But if you're in an environment that allows you to know that in that moment, because that's the thing, you have to be present in it, and see yourself becoming, see yourself growing, see yourself being poured into, right? See yourself exchanging value, see how it is adding to your life and not taken away, then that matters. And it's vital to you being who God says you are.
Right. And get the vision board. So that's vital, like she said, but the vision board, okay, every year everybody makes a vision board. Right. We put it up there. Some of us make one every year. I've been doing mine. I think I want it for every 2 years. So I just do one board, and I'm not going to redo it for 2 years. That's what I do. But building that environment is the key to that vision coming to life. Because if you don't have that, you can take magazines and look through them and pick out what you want. You can put all these words on there, but if you don't have someone around you that's really encouraging you and pushing you, or maybe you can't move out of the environment that you're in, but putting yourself in environments that are great, like networking events and listening to motivational speaking, getting a coach, like all these things are important, because you cannot birth that vision without that environment being secure and positive. Because it's easy to go negative.
Right.
It's easy for us to pick out something negative right away, immediately. Right. But to say something positive or be around positive vibes is hard to find sometimes if you're not searching for it. So I just encourage people to actively search for environments that are going to feed you, that are going to, nourish you, because
Absolutely.
You need that.
But you have to be intentional.
Yeah.
So you have to go there with an expectation to receive.
True.
Right? And not just receive, is you also get what you give. So you have to do the work on yourself too. So when you're going into this environment to be uplifted, to be impacted, right? You also have to go in with that positive mindset. You have to be able to say, you know what, I'm showing up. I don't know what this is going to be, but I expect to leave better than the way I came.
Yes, the expectation. I love it of it all. Like, go in expecting to leave better than you came.
Yes.
Wow.
Let me touch a little bit on that vision board. Yes. I think everybody has a different way of thinking about that. And there's no right or wrong.
No,
basically,
there's not.
Everybody has a different way about it. But here's the thing. I I put a vision board together back in 2018, and that is really the last one I've done. I've done some goal boards and some different things or whatever. And the reason why is because there's so many things that's on that vision board that I'm still working towards. And there's a lot of things that I've already checked off. But the point is, the vision board is visualization. It allows you to see it, right? See it before you see it. So if we talk about manifestation and different things of that nature, it allows you to see where you're going, right? And when you do it where you allow God to be in alignment, where God speaks to you, what you thought you were going to put on that vision board may not even turn out to be what you totally expected. Different. God has a whole different plan. Yep. So when you start checking it off, you're like, oh, wow, God did this and God did that. And you get reminded, right? And you're being intentional about your journey and where you're going, which is your fuel, which is your motivation. And then you continue to be inspired, right? Because in those times you want to quit and you want to give up, we need the reminders that help us keep going. But also, the work is the work. You can't skip the work.
Can't skip
action,
it.
Right? Our behaviors drive our actions, right? And our actions produce results. So it is a visualization tool. However, it does not replace us actually stepping on in and saying, you know what, I'm going to do my part. I'm going to partner with God and allow him to lead because he has control.
Yes.
But I'm going to do what I can do. And I'm going to release what I cannot control, right?
Yep. And that's exactly where I got the name for my podcast, Allow Yourself Grace. Like, we have to release what we can't control, and we have to give ourselves the same grace that God gives us. Like, he gives us grace all the time. Like, because it's, it's sometimes like you cut up, like, did you really just do all that? Like, did you just do all that? And he just keeps forgiving us, and he keeps allowing us to come back into his will. And it's just amazing. So I'm like, I need to allow myself that same grace sometimes when I'm being so hard on myself about not getting to where I want. Because we want to be where we want to be overnight. Right? We want to get there overnight. Like, no, but let's celebrate the small things along the way, because we're winning. Yeah. We're winning all along. We're making progress because what she said, we're putting action behind what we're, setting our mind to. But it's like, we need to stop to celebrate and thank God for the things that he's doing along the way on the journey before we get to that big thing sometimes. Right. Because it can look totally different from what's on your vision board. And you can be like, oh, that's why I had to go through this, because
exactly right.
I couldn't
get to that without going through this.
But if I would have got it when I wasn't ready for it, I wouldn't even known how to handle it. Right? I would have lost it already.
You would have lost it completely.
Wow. And it's just like, I love it, because as long as you're in alignment with him, when you stop and you get back in line with him, everything it's a lot smoother. But we make it so hard on ourselves because we're in a rush.
We do.
We're in a rush.
And a lot of times that's where our stress and our frustration comes from.
Yeah.
Some of us are overthinkers and overachievers, right? And we allow fear to creep in, false expectation appearing real, and when you should be using that fear to ask questions. Because really it's about asking those tough questions, like, why am I thinking or feeling the way I'm feeling? Get to the root of it, because if you don't, right, faster, it's going to be on repeat is what it is. So you have to always get to the root of those thoughts so that you can release it. You can't just think you can just put a Band-Aid over it. It doesn't work like that, because it'll come back around again. But it's just really about you just allowing, like you said, allow yourself some grace, little by little, bit by bit, step by step. It is about the progress.
Yes.
Your progress in the process, right? Because it is a process.
Progress in the process.
You got to go through it. You got to go through it to get to it.
Yeah.
You can't skip around. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, it doesn't. And just empowering other people as well on your journey. Like, not just being all about you. Like, when we learn to be selfless, like, we receive so much that way. One of the, before we wrap up, one of the things I wanted to ask you, what was it? It just literally just slipped my mind. I'll get back to it. But anyway, just making sure that you're always around people that are pushing you.
Right.
Like, that is so key for me right now. But God's just been literally placing the people, they just been coming and I'm like, oh, it's great. And it's like every episode somebody's pouring into me. and you know, and vice versa, and it's like everybody's family, and that's the environment that I wanted.
Yes.
You know, because that's why I'm really selective about the people that I choose. Now I thought about what I wanted to ask you. Imposter syndrome. That's one of the things that I think keeps us from pushing forward, because we're comparing ourselves to other people.
Ooh, you just hit it. Look, and there go the Holy Spirit. I have to say it. I'm a spiritual woman. I'm a Christian, and listen, you just hit it right there. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna let you finish your question.
No, I was just gonna ask you, like, on social media, you know, I'm sure you deal with clients like this too, where, you know, they're like, well, with this person, we started at the same time and they're doing this and they're doing that. But how important is it for, you know, a woman or a man or whomever to just stick to your journey, like, and not worry about what other people are doing?
It's so important, because you have to run your own race. You got to stay in your own lane. What God has for you is for you. And I had to learn this myself. It's funny that we're even talking about it, and I know it's not a coincidence. I actually was writing a chapter, because I'm part of a new book that's going to be coming out, Overcomers, Women in Purpose. And it's an anthology that's coming out, where I was writing my chapter, finishing yesterday, and that's what it was touching on, imposter syndrome, because back in 2018 I experienced where I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize the person I was seeing. I'm like, who are you? And, you know, as women, you know, we wear so many different hats, and social media plays a huge part, because for me back then, I had a 2-year-old. He was 2 at the time, Keenan. And I'm like, okay. And I made the decision to be a stay-at-home mom, but I'm a stay-at-home mom who was always used to working. So here I am, with a 2-year-old, feeling like I'm not contributing, looking at social media all day, which was a huge problem. And I'm at home, and I'm comparing. This spirit of comparison. And it was just like, I'm comparing my life to the next. Well, I should be this further along. And look, this person has, you know, has this many kids, and they're able to do this, and this. And really, I just hit a wall. And I felt as if I couldn't breathe. And I kind of really went into a little bit of a depression. But what I realized was, through effective self-care and my meditation and praying to God, and God actually spoke and said, the Holy Spirit said, get off social media. So I did a social media fast for 5 months. From January to March. I mean, not January to May, in 2018. But it was necessary, because I had to tap into who I was meant to be, my own journey, run my own race, because sometimes we can just say, well, I'm just going to stop doing it. Don't work like that, right? I had to be completely removed off of social media, because my mind was so plugged into, what is this person doing? Oh, they're on that trip. Oh, no. You have to be able to fast and do what's necessary for you, so that you can become the best and highest version of yourself.
I love it. Because it's so easy to do. It's easy to be like, oh, well, how do they have that many people? And I've been doing this and I've been doing that. But if you run your own race and just stay in your own lane, God will bring you the blessings, and you will get clarity on what you need to do. It helps you gain more structure in what you're doing. I love it when I see other people doing what I'm doing, because I can learn something from them. You know, they can maybe learn something from me, but it's just like being in those spaces. But we all go through it. We've all been through it, where you're like, oh, well, let me look over here. Let me look over there. But I think when you get focused, it just brings so much clarity. And that's what I tell people, because they'll tell me, well, I can't create content because I don't have a camera or I don't have lights. I'm like, well, you have your phone.
Right.
You know, like, it's not about that. It's just about starting. Start your journey, and God will help you figure everything else out.
Because that's what He's waiting on. Yeah. He's waiting on you just to start. Not continue to talk about what you don't have. Why don't you use what you do have, right? Because
what you have.
You have to use what you have. That's exactly what it is. So, and I just wanted to say one thing about social media. It is definitely an effective tool. And, you know, it can definitely be empowering, and it can definitely be encouraging, but it's up to us to use it that way, right? We have to continue to feed our mind and nourish our mind, body, soul, and spirit by allowing the right things to pour into us. We have control of what we see and what we don't see.
We do.
So that's the thing about social media. And then what I also had to remind myself, a lot of times people are showing you what they want to show you.
A highlight of their life.
Yes, they're not being fully transparent transparent. That's why I love to hear people's story who talks about the blood, sweat, tears, the hard work, the almost giving up, the almost quitting, but I was almost going to go, and then boom, it happened, because people need to hear that.
They need to hear it.
It's not easy, but it's worth it.
It's worth it. It's worth it. But it's definitely not easy. And you're looking at someone's life on the outside, and you're wanting what they have, but you don't know what they had to go through to get it. And like she said, sometimes they're not sharing it with you.
Right.
And you're only seeing like what you think they have. And so I always tell people, like, I'm human. Don't think I'm not human just because you see me on social media. Like, I have my moments where I'm like,
right.
I don't want to do this today. I don't like this.
Right.
My husband and I have our moments because we have a podcast. And I'm like, some days I'm like, I'm not really feeling you right now. Give me 5 minutes, because we work together too. And so
that's a whole nother conversation.
That's a whole nother conversation. Yeah, marriage and business is a lot. And so people see like power couple. Yeah, I'm like, but it's some things that come with it. So be careful what you ask for sometimes, because you don't know what comes with it. And so if you want what someone has, or you want to, it's okay to have a role model or someone that you look up to, but just know that you're going to have to put in some work, like Katie said, and just know that it comes with some blood, sweat, and tears. It is going to take some action behind those goals that you wrote down, behind those pictures that you have on that vision board. It's not going to get done unless you start, unless you get to work.
Unless you start.
Yes.
And I was just going to say, self-care, a lot of times people think, well, self-care, that means that it's just self-serving and it's selfish. No, self-care matters. Effective self-care is soul-care, and it's so important because you can't give from an empty cup, and we've heard that, and we can't give from an empty tank. When you're given what you don't have, that's where you feel empty. That's where you feel depleted, manipulated, abused, used. So it is about that replenishment, that restoration. You have to be refueled, and it's what's going to feed you so that you can be the best version, not just for yourself, but for others as well.
Yes, because someone needs you, and they need to hear your story, and they need to feel you. Like, everybody's tribe is different.
Right.
Everybody has their people they can reach. Katie has people that she can touch that I'm never going to see. And so I think we worry about, the market's oversaturated. Too many people are doing podcasts, or too many people are coaches, or too many people. Like, focus on your journey.
Right.
And your people will come, and your blessings will come. But it's something about when we collaborate. Because this right here, what you see, came off of collaboration. We were both a part of the Melanin Minds conference here in Houston. And that's how we met. We met in the bathroom. we met in the bathroom.
We sure did.
Started talking briefly, and look at God. You see what I'm saying? So, like, don't be so close-minded about collaborating either, because you meet amazing people, like people that are like, hey, let's do this,
Right.
And I love that. I love that for what everybody's doing. It's good for your business. It's good for you personally. It's just good all the way around. So never be afraid of collaboration. We always say here, my husband and I, collaboration over competition, because we're not in competition. Like, we just want to see everybody win. We can all be in the same room and be winning. And that's the beautiful part about this, because someone could come here and they may, I need a personal development coach. I need help. Hey, let me refer you to Katie. She's great. So that's the whole goal with working together and just building each other up. But I want to say thank you so much for taking time to share on my platform. Y'all, she came and dropped a lot of gems. So I hope you guys were taking notes. This is the part of the episode where I like to turn the tables. Do you have any questions for me before we end the episode?
You know what? I would love to hear, and not to put you on the spot, but being that I'm a personal growth coach, and we were talking about that 90 days, so give me something that you're working on in the next 90 days.
Whew. Or
working towards.
So I finished my website finally. So I'm putting like finishing touches. So I'm working on like my email system, like following up my emails and stuff like that. And then just working out, because I went to the doctor, I think this was last month, and they're like, okay, you got to come off some of this weight. Like, you got to come down off the weight, because I think I've gained 40 pounds over the past 2 years. And so that's my goal right now, is just being intentional about what I'm eating. So every morning I've been getting up and working out, making sure I have my breakfast, that way I'm not starving by the time lunchtime comes. And so just being more intentional about those things. So that's kind of what I'm doing for the last quarter of the year. And then, of course, business stuff, like transitioning to our new space. So that's where I'm at.
That's what's up, because health is wealth.
Health is wealth. And I can't be the best me if I'm not healthy.
Yeah,
so
absolutely agreed. And I actually started a detox on yesterday because I wanted to cleanse my body and everything. Chapter 43 is starting next month. My birthday's coming.
Yay.
So I said I'm not going to
birthdays.
wait till my birthday. I'm like, you know what? And the number 8, this is August, right? It's the month of new beginnings. So I'm like, let me go ahead and jump in to, get healthier. So I'm right along with you on that, because it's important, what we actually put into our body. Yeah. We have control over that.
Yeah, and it affects your mind. Like, I went to the doctor because I was feeling like fatigued and just like, I don't know, sweaty. And, they're like, yeah, it's the weight. You got to come off the weight, because I've never been this big. So that's what I'm working on. So I've been getting I got my little Peloton now in the room. Okay. And then we have a little gym in our garage. So I've been just doing that every day, every morning, getting up and working out before I come to the office. So I get it done in the morning. That way I don't have no excuse about I'm tired from the day. So I built it into my routine.
That's wonderful. And then allow it to be a lifestyle.
Yes.
Because that's what I'm training my mind. It's a lifestyle. It's not just because I want to lose 15 pounds.
But after I lose, I need to maintain it. I need to stay healthy.
Yes.
Yes.
And just to feel good, man. It's just nothing like just feeling good from the inside out.
And the energy, your skin, everything just starts to change. So, yeah, I'm glad. Look, she's on a journey. I'm on a journey. I love it. I love it. I love it. Any other questions?
No.
Okay.
I'm just excited. Yeah, I'm grateful to have been here. I don't know if are we closing it out right
now?
Yeah,
we're closing out.
So I did want to just let everybody please follow me at iamkatieparks on both Facebook and Instagram. If you would like to book your 30-minute discovery session, please do that too by clicking the link so that we can have a discussion. And again, I want to tell you that being is your birthright. Being is our birthright. And self-care is soul-care. So I challenge you to really think about your self-care. What are you doing? What allows you to feel peace, to feel most free? What brings you joy? And if you're not sure what that is, make a list. Really sit in that 10-minute quiet time. Yes. Because you do need to figure out, because your dreams and your goals are dependent on it. So thank y'all. It's been great.
Thank you so much. And until next time, we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Well, guys, that concludes our episode. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to the Allow Yourself Grace podcast. For additional information about today's episode, please click the link in the show notes below. To learn more about our Grace Girls community and other resources we have to offer, head over to www.allowyourselfgrace.com. Until next time, Grace Girls, I love you all, be blessed, and continue to strive for success.